thank you very much for coming and welcome to my exhibition. So we go down the side into a separate entrance. I should have been exhibiting with Rosie Colvin and her lovely silver jewellery. Some of you who've come before will know it because she's exhibited before with me. And Alison Mumby, a sculptor, stone sculptor, was going to also exhibit with me, having some of her work in the garden. We hope to do it before the end of the year, after the coronavirus hopefully has passed. This is April. The tulips are just coming out. So, welcome. This is the way in to the studio. And this is my printing press. I'm doing a book on local walks called Everyday Walks at the moment, and I'm doing drypoint etchings for the book. I've done a prototype. There's going to be an edition of 100 for sale, put together by hand with an envelope construction. So that's using envelopes which you stick together to make a spine. A lot of the pictures in this room are from these islands: Iceland at the top, the Faroes in red, Shetland and Orkney. Here's another one from the Faroe Islands. These are both done with mixed media collage, using some old prints that I don't want anymore and tearing them up. This one's of geese and the national flower of the Faroes, which is marsh marigolds. The puffins you can get really close up to. We went in June. Here's where I keep all my spare boards and card and prints and things. And this is a book I've done about my grandchildren, really, and things they like doing, like running and cooking, sledging, climbing, walking, sleeping, digging, feeding the ducks, reading, skimming stones, being with their cousin, baby cousin. As we go round, here's a painting of a hedgerow near here that I did for my Everyday Walks book in the autumn, with spindleberries, rose hips, etc. This wall we've got another picture from the Faroe Islands with a shaft of light hitting the sea. And this is a beach on the ocean southwest of Bordeaux on the coast of France, where I went with a walking and painting holiday with a friend. We kept a sketchbook. These are birch trees which we planted a few years ago up on the mountainside in North Wales, where we go a lot, to a house that's high up on the mountain that's been in the family for since the 60s. This is in Norfolk, where we go every year. This is another painting from the Walks book, again on that ridge looking out towards Morton in the Marsh. That's the common, up the valley, up the Glyme Valley, just beyond the common. And on this wall I've got 3 paintings from Shetland, where I did a residency a couple of years ago. And this is on the island of Stur, where I went for a day. It's a small island. I walked around the whole island. This is a rock arch on the coast. They found a Neolithic axe factory here. This is also on Shetland, Brecon Sands, where they found evidence of Viking settlements that had been covered over by the sand. We'll go through into the next room, which we normally use as a spare room, except for when I'm open for open studios. There's a track that goes up at the top of Chipping Norton called Glyme Lane. It's a very ancient track. And a friend of mine, Crabby Taylor, and I have been meeting up there every Tuesday at 8 o'clock in the morning for the past year, all through the seasons. And we've been drawing in situ. These are 2 hybrid prints I've done, drypoint with sheen collé and additional textural printing and embossing. This one's much darker, and this one's got more embossed and extra detail in it. These are the only 2 I've done. And they're from drawings. They're quite big drawings I've done in situ using a pushchair that I use for my grandchildren. I used the hood as a easel, and I put all the stuff inside. There are brassicas that have gone to flower, greenhouse, rusty sheds. You get barrels, blue barrels and things up there. This is a shed, Miss Rose's shed. Again, drawn in situ. I like the red bowl. These are £750 each. These are our beehives, which are further up Glyme Lane. We keep bees. It was a good year last year. Mixed media, acrylic inks, pastels, pencils, watercolour pencils. And down here I've got 2 summer ones. This one's the Millennium Wood, which is also up there in the summer with the flowers and the grass. The reason we started this project is because this area is under threat from a relief road that's planned for house building that's going to happen that side of Chipping Norton, and we wanted to highlight everything that would be lost if this happens, the communities up there and the wildlife and all the vegetables that are grown. There's a globe artichokes done in charcoal and watercolour and pastel on a plot up near where our beehives are. This is the Millennium Wood in the autumn. I did it on a day after showers when the sun shone brightly afterwards and the air was very clear and the colours were very bright. Spindleberries and autumn. I've become really interested in bookmaking in the last few years, and I just quickly want to show you a few examples. Here's a big book in a wooden box with a slate lid, which I did when I was on Shetland for the residency. And inside is a hanging book made from bits of ply that hangs down, and it makes, one of the versions makes a picture and the other one's a treasure which I found with lino cuts and etchings inside. So that's made of wood. And then you've got other ones, like this one's a folding out one, which I did based on our mother's Alzheimer's and the nursing home she went to. So it opens out with writing and you look through gateways and arches. A bit like with Alzheimer's, it's difficult to navigate your way through it. And I've used symbols to try and suggest that from the grounds at the nursing home and the gardens. In the winter, the apple tree being pruned, looking through. It was based on a poem which our mother wrote. A lot of the books go into boxes, and then when you open them, it's a surprise. It's something precious, and it makes them more of an object. I like the intimacy of a book and the way you can hold it, and the way it brings a body of work together. This is a sketchbook I did when I did some work on Rathlin Island off the north coast of Northern Ireland. It's L-shaped, and this is a facsimile sketchbook that I did when I was there. And I did another one on Shetland. Again, it goes into a box. Walking round all the different islands. And then I did a little one using the same images in the hanging book at the beginning of the video. My daughter wrote the poems for this, and it's small so that children can easily hold it. And it goes into a matchbox type little box like that, which I like. It just fits. And again, it brought a body of work I did to do with my grandchildren together. These are the little boxes. And then another thing I've done is a series, spring, summer, autumn, winter, of all the plants on the verges. When I used to have a studio in Chadlington and cycle there often, this is what I found. And it's all cut from, it's a concertina book, cut from an A3 piece of paper with a map on the back. And some writing. And you get little glimpses through. It ties, and it goes into a little slip cover like that, and there's 4 of them for each season. Here's a little book I did. It's got Japanese stab stitching. A lot of the books I've made have got that. I like using that. I like the stitching. Here's another one. Here's the Japanese stab stitching. On a bicycle trip I did with a friend and our 2 daughters who are good friends, and it's got overlays of etchings and lino cuts. There's an etching of a bicycle wheel. We did it in June. Here are the dog roses. And some tracing paper overlay, today's fish. So again, it's brought a body of work which I did together. I like the way you can look through. And that came in a box with a little badge. And then if we look over here, you can see how sculptural a book can be. This is a concertina book, and you can lay it out in a star shape. This is again looking across from Rathlin Island. To Donegal, back to Fairhead on the mainland, and you can go all the way around. It's got a line of writing as well, like that, and that goes into a little box. I'll go through to the other room, which we normally use as a workshop. At the moment, my husband's mending beehives, supers, ready for the new season, and he's going to put together some new ones as well. So in this room, we've got a wall of giclée prints that are framed. Everything else in the exhibition is original, apart from this wall. These are all paintings I've sold. So I only do the prints once I've sold an original. Cornwall, Prussia Cove, Orkney, looking across to Hoy, Cole, the willows at Swimbrook. That's cold too. And this is a stream idyll, a collage with painting of a dream. And reflections in the canal. This is down near Avebury. Again, it takes more from the imagination, where the paths meet, the meeting of the paths. Two paintings from Iceland, the north coast of Iceland in the winter, a bright sunny morning. Again, mixed media. And here's another one, a shaft of light coming through the clouds. All the way along this wall is a drawing I did in Italy. Getting up early and drawing a section. It was a walled town on a hill. So you got good views out from the wall. And every day I did a different section. It was nice hearing the children going to school and the noises of a little town beginning the day, people going to work. I used water-soluble pencils and charcoal pencils and graphite. This section I used for a painting, that's here. So back to the drawing. If you take it right round, in a circle, if you joined it up, it would give a 360-degree view from this little town in Tuscany. I've got some more prints in here in another browser, the bigger ones. Here are the St John's Cliffs, Orkney. And I've also got a suitcase with sketchbooks in, which you'll have to come and have a browse through. And I also normally have cards out for sale. You can see them all on my website, which is www.judithyarrow.com. Please have a look, because I've got all my pictures on there and all the cards are there. Now we're back. We've been round in a complete circle. We're back to the studio where we began. And where I sit. I've blocked off the window so I don't get quite so much reflection. Back to my printing press where I work. I do hope to see you in the future, and thank you so much for coming. It's been lovely to share my work with you. This is the way out, back to the garden and back up the path, up the side of the house. Thank you. Bye-bye.